What is up, guys? How are we all? I hope everybody is well and good. So today we're trying out a little bit of a Premier League content. I did put a post up on YouTube the other day about would people rather see more Premier League content, predictions, things like today. Also, and then live streams at the weekend of gaming. And last time I looked, Premier League was winning. Yes was winning. So I think hopefully I'm going to be able to do that. I always feel like I would enjoy making that content a bit more also. So yeah, we're going to get straight into it, see how it goes. Today we are doing each player your club should... one player that your club should sell and one player that your club should sign, give or take. I'm not sure on much of the status of contracts and things like that on players. There's obviously a couple of questionable ones. A couple of clubs have got one or two more, but I'll explain as we go in. And we're going to start off with one player each club should sell. And we're going to start off with Arsenal. And I'm going to say Rob Holding. I'm not sure how long he has left on his contract. So for all I know, it could be up this summer anyway. I don't think it is. I'm going to assume he's only got a year or so left. Very good servant of the club. Bags of Premier League experience, but I don't think he's good enough for where Arsenal are at anymore. I think they're better than him. I think they want better than him, and I think it showed at the end of the season when he had to fill in that he's just not at the standard anymore. I don't think he'd be very short of offers in the Prem. There's a lot of clubs, I could say in Everton maybe, because of experience, one of the newly promoted clubs, which as you can see I haven't got up here because I don't know enough about them, I don't know their situations, so I thought I'd leave that for now. But yeah, so the first one I'm saying is Rob Holding, and the second one onto my club, Aston Villa, I'm saying Felipe Coutinho. There was quite a few here I think for Villa, but I think Coutinho, he looked good for a couple of games under Unai Emery, but then got injured and, we didn't really see him come back, which was obviously really, sorry guys, really frustrating, because he was starting to look okay. There's a couple of players I think the Villa should and probably could get rid of. Coutinho one, obviously. Nakamba, Wesley, who is out on loan. Digne, Courtney House, Robin Olsen. There's a lot of dead wood at Villa. I think needs taken out. Leo Bailey. I know a few people rate him. I thought he'd done well in the last 3 games of the season, but it's not consistent enough for me. So yeah, Coutinho is the man. Release some wages. Next club I'm going to go with is Bournemouth. Now my player for Bournemouth is actually Randolph. I'll be honest, I looked at Bournemouth and I couldn't find anybody that I would personally get rid of. But I needed somebody. I think you will see later on in this at one point there is a club without a single sale. I think for Bournemouth, I'd be getting rid of Randolph. I think they've got, and I looked, I think they've got 3 keepers. They don't need 4. He's, again, been another good servant in football. He's a good goalkeeper, but he's not good enough for the standard in the Premier League, in my opinion. So that would be the player I would be getting rid of. Again, not sure on contract situation. But, yeah, that would be my go-to to get rid of. And for Brentford, he's David Raya, however you say it. Now, as good of a goalkeeper as he is, he doesn't want to be there. He's got a year left on his deal, and Brentford are holding out for the fee that they want, and I understand it, because it's a lot of money, and he's a very good keeper. In my opinion, top 5 in the Premier League. He's unbelievable. I rate him so highly. But if you don't accept the offers that are coming in now, you're going to lose everything. So if it was me, I'd be looking to ship Raya off this summer. I heard that they brought in another keeper. I don't know how true it is. I haven't actually seen much transfers. Flecken, I think it was. So if they can replace him with a half-decent keeper, it's okay. You know, so I think Raya is the one to sell for me. Unbelievable goalkeeper. Will get you a big fee, and you can go out and buy a keeper for 20-30 mil. Next on the list is Brighton. It's similar again to Brentford. Caicedo, unbelievable midfielder. This might be a bit shadowed about with what he did in January, with him releasing his statement that he was going and he wasn't. That, I will be honest, frustrated me because I don't like to see that in a player. But yeah, Caicedo, I don't think I need to say too much. They're willing to listen to after, 70, 75 probably. There's a lot of clubs that could do with him. He's a good player, much better than Brighton, and no disrespect to Brighton because they are unbelievable. But he is definitely a Champions League quality player. Yeah, that would be the man that I would be selling to cash in on. Obviously, McAllister's going as well. People think, wow, supposedly it's near enough done. So you've got McAllister. That even Ferguson, I think, is going to have a lot of offers coming in for him. I think Brighton are going to have a busy window and they're going to have a lot of fighting to do to keep players. Because the season they've had, he's unbelievable. He is just unbelievable. So yeah, Caicedo's a man for me. Cash in, go and buy a midfielder, do what you do best, a £5 million midfielder, and turn him into 80. For Chelsea, this was tough because I think there's a few that they could get rid of. I'm going to say Edouard Mendy. I think we saw in the in the season, Kepa coming in place, sort of getting his way back, especially under Potter. I think both of these keepers, realistically, could probably go. Chelsea could go out and sign a much better keeper than both of them for half the money that they spent on both of them. So Mendy is a man that I would sell along with Kepa. Kante, I think with Kante, he's unbelievable and they've missed him, and it's clear to tell because he's played well when he's come back. However, he's getting on and he's getting injuries. Pulisic is another one. I know a few people might even consider Lukaku, but I actually think with Pochettino coming in, I think Lukaku's probably the closest striker he'll find to Kane. I actually think he'll get a tune out of Lukaku. I'm quite looking forward to seeing that. Yeah, I think you'll be very interesting to see that. So look, for my next player, it is Wilfried Zaha of Crystal Palace. Again, their best player. Well, he's not actually. Eze and Elise, I actually think are better. I think they're unbelievable. I think every single club in this list should actually be having Elise and Eze on their list. Because I think they're unbelievable. I don't think they'd cost millions. But yeah, I don't like him. Marcus is a wind-up merchant. Does his job perfectly. I hate him. But because of him being a wind-up merchant, really. He's a good player. Quick, skillful. When he's playing well and when he's in form, he's unplayable against. But I think the fees going down and down every year. I think they had a chance a few years ago to sell him straight away to Arsenal. They kept hold of him. Probably was the right decision, but now I think it's time to cash in and look at someone younger, maybe better, cheaper, younger. There's a lot of options out there nowadays with football at young ages that are much better than Zaha. But yeah, so that would be mine. And then Everton next is Calvert-Lewin. Again, Everton. The whole squad. I know a lot of people would say the whole squad at Everton need to go because they're all terrible, maybe. But I think Calvert-Lewin, another one where if you can keep him fit, he's one of the best strikers in the league, in my opinion, when fit. But when you keep him fit, he's injured 99% of the time, and it's not good enough. Cash in, take whatever you can. Cash in, strengthening that position. You need someone that's going to be there for at least 30 games of the season scoring goals. Calvert-Lewin's there for maybe 3. He's injured that much. So that'd be my selling for Everton. Calvert-Lewin. So yeah, Fulham. Genuinely, I looked at Fulham's squad. I don't know enough. I don't know contracts. I don't physically know anything. And I'd say nobody. try and keep hold of everybody you can. Mitrovic was banging in goals for fun. Leno, one of the signings of the season now. So yeah, for me, I would say don't actually sell anybody. Just strengthen what you've got. You had a really, really good positive season. I am going to sort of be backtracking in one of the signings. As you probably see, Paulinho is on a club that I want to sign him. But I'll get into that when I do. And then on to Liverpool. I've gone Joe Gomez. Just another one. It's just not good enough. I don't know how much you could probably get for him. English tax, playing Champions League. He's won a Premier League. Plays for Liverpool, one of the biggest clubs in England. I reckon you could get 30 mil. Injured too often though for me. I just think Liverpool, the team that struggle to keep the ball out of the net, need to be getting rid of the deadwood. I don't know if I'd call Joe Gomez deadwood. In my opinion, he is. I don't think he's good enough. I'd just sell him. And for Man City, might be a bit of an argument for this one, but Calvin Phillips, again, Man City, they could sell almost anybody in that squad and be the best team in the world still. So who do you actually sell at that team? Kyle Walker could go, maybe. Kyle Walker, yeah, maybe. But City again, another club where I wouldn't sell anybody. I know Gundogan's going really on a free, so it's not really a sell. But yeah, if I was City, I don't think I'd actually sell anybody. Grealish come through this season. Ake's been unreal. John Stones has turned that right back role and become one of the best right backs in the league playing it. Like an inverted sort of role, isn't it? Coming inside. Yeah, I wouldn't sell anybody. And if I was, it'd be Calvin Phillips. There's a couple clubs actually that could take him. I think Newcastle's one. West Ham's one. Villa are one maybe. Arsenal potentially. Liverpool. I think every club in this league wouldn't mind Calvin Phillips. The only club in this league that could right now, with the team they've got, say that he's not better than who they've got is City and West Ham, in my opinion. That's a lie. United as well. There is a few, but he would still strengthen in a lot of these systems. He'd strengthen at West Ham, strengthen at Liverpool, strengthen at Arsenal with Partey, strengthen at Newcastle. There's a lot. But yeah, that would be my sell, especially if the right money comes in. And now, Man United, I think it's an obvious one. I think everyone's going to have the same name. Harry Maguire. For me, I don't mind Harry Maguire. I think he's a half decent centre half, especially if you put him in a back three. For me, he's one of the better centre halves. Well, not one of the better centre halves. He's a mid-table centre half in a back three, especially. So for me, I have no issues with him. He just weren't the price tag that he was brought for, and that's not his fault. People seem to forget that Harry Maguire come off the back of an amazing World Cup, playing in an overachieving Leicester side, who have overachieved for years. He didn't pick that price tag, did he? At the end of the day. So for me, Harry Maguire's a man to sell, cash in, get a few mil, and let him go and enjoy his football elsewhere. And then Nottingham Forest is another team where I just looked at. I've seen, obviously, they've released, 6, 7 players now this season, already this summer. Jesse Lingard being one of them, that probably would have been my man to sell. Jesse Lingard, but they've released him. So, in terms of Nottingham Forest, I don't think there's anybody I'd sell. Just solely on the fact that I just think they need to keep what they've had and then expand as well, and improve. So for me, I'd just keep what you've got and then obviously develop bringing a couple more stronger players. I know they signed so many players last season, actually, and I'm saying this, it's popped in my head, the amount of signings they had. They do need to sell some things. But who do you sell in the side that's just kept you up? You know, you're not going to sell your attacking players because they're goals. Since January, they've been pretty solid. You know, you've got Kaylor's Navas in there. I'm sure they signed him permanently. I can't actually remember. I'm probably being dumb. But, you know, their back line's solid. Everybody that they signed last season, I thought, were pretty solid. It's just almost too many. So they released 6 players. They will sell a couple, I think. But for me, sell no one and just strengthen. Next up is Newcastle, and I'm going for former Villa player, left back, Matt Targett. Now, Matt Targett, the season before last, I think it was really solid. You know, really good. Player of the season for me at Villa. It was the year Grealish went. Player of the season for me at Villa. One of the best left backs in the league, I thought at times. Unbelievable. This season he's found himself falling out of favour to Dan Burn. And I think like this man's majority is centre half. He can play out wide, of course he can, but he's not quicker than you. Shouldn't be. Shouldn't be more flexible than you. You know, you should be more agile. You should just be better as a fullback than him. And he's played you out the side all season. I think Newcastle, you're in Europe, you're in Champions League. Sell Matt Targett, bring in a left back, and you've still got that option for Dan Burn out wide as well. Yeah, I think Matt Targett would be one to go get him off that wage bill. Next, I think the next 3 are going to annoy some people. I'm sorry, Tottenham fans, I'm sorry, but Harry Kane has to go. Has to. For himself as well as you. You know, this man has done everything and more. This man has done everything and more for your club. Yeah, sell him, cash in, get the cash, strengthen, redevelop your team, rebuild, buy somebody and rebuild your team around him. You know, this man, he deserves to be playing Champions League football, and he's not getting that at Tottenham. And he deserves trophies, and he's not getting that. I think it would be in everybody else's favour to sell him. You get the money, he gets a move, and everyone's happy. Next up, I'm going West Ham, and similar again, West Ham fans, I'm sorry, but Rice. Sell Declan Rice. Listen, unbelievable player, and you will massively be weakened without him, similar to Spurs. But you bring in that money, you buy somebody again, and you build a team around Gerard Bowen. Build a team around Bowen. Truthfully, you know, Rice is going to get you the funds to do it, and that's, in my opinion, is what you should be doing. You know, this guy, another one, deserves to be playing Champions League and winning trophies, and he's not doing that at West Ham. You've had a poor season. Yeah, I think just sell him, cash in, build a team around a player like Bowen, you know, and move from there. It's the best thing to do, in my opinion. Then Wolves, I'm going to go with Adama Traore. As much as his pace and strength is frightening, and he is lightning quick, he just doesn't do enough in the final third for me. He's not good enough in the final third. His end product is horrific. So for me, I would opt to say, sell Traore, get a few mil. Probably get more than a few mil, to be honest. Probably get 30, 40. Sell him, and again, bring in some strikers, bring in some goal scorers, because that's what you guys need. So yeah, that is my players I would sell from each club, one player. Obviously, there's 2 that I've left out, and personally, I would say Brentford, neither. Don't sell anybody. Bournemouth, don't sell anybody, you know. But yeah, so that is who I would sell from each club. I'm going to move straight into players that I would buy from each club. So I'll be right back in a minute. Yes then, guys, now then. So we are back with one player I think every club in the league should sign. Sorry. We're going to get straight into it. So, for me, one player that Arsenal should be signing is Yuri Tielemans on a free. Unbelievable player. He is. I've seen people say he's lazy, he's this, he's that. put him in a squad where he can't be lazy because the team's so good. And Arsenal is that team. You know, he's going to strengthen in depth and in numbers anyway. He probably starts in their midfield, in my opinion. And it's free transfer, so you can't go wrong. But for me, Tielemans on a free to Arsenal is my man. Now for Villa, I know this is one player, but I have two players that I think Villa should be signing this summer, or at least in 4 out of the 1, and that is Emile Smith-Rowe and Harvey Barnes. Harvey Barnes from newly relegated Leicester is, if I'm going to be honest, probably my more favoured one. He's just out of all the players who have gone down with their teams, this for me is the most criminal. He's unbelievable. And I think with them being down in the Premier League, I think any club in the league could probably get him for about 30 mil. Which I think is a bargain for an English young winger who is this talented. And then the next one obviously is Emile Smith-Rowe, who can play as a number 10 and out wide. You know, he got given the number 10 shirt with Arsenal a couple of years ago when Villa were interested in. I think they wanted something like 60 mil, I think it was, for him. Which is ridiculous for a player that's not played enough. Unai Emery did bring him through as well at Arsenal. I think he's a very talented young lad. I do think about 40, 45 mil would get him, which I don't think is bad. Again, for a young English creative player. It's just about whether you could convince him to come from a Champions League club now to Villa. I know we got our Conference League. You know, I don't think we'd struggle. I think Unai Emery could convince him. But it's just about whether, you know, again, Arsenal are going to let him go. If they don't, they've got to play him next season. And I think if they don't do that, then I think he will be going to a club somewhere. The next one, though, this one I think is going to raise eyebrows, is Connor Cody. Again, from times when I've seen Bournemouth playing a free back, I think this man, being the leader he is, I think he's one of the better centre-halves in the league in a back three. I don't see why not. I don't see why it would be looked up at. You know, why you'd stick your nose up at someone like Connor Cody, who's got bags of experience, he's a leader, very good in the back three. You know, I think it would be quite a solid signing for you guys as Bournemouth. Again, another one where I don't think he's a bad centre-half at all. I think his leadership's unbelievable. I think his mentality is a joke. I think in the back three he's decent, and on the ball he's very calm and composed. I would look at him and I wouldn't put my nose up at that at all. And on to Brentford. This is more of a loan than a buy, but I would say Cameron Archer from Villa. And the reasoning for this one, again, it's probably going to raise eyebrows, but I would just look at it and go, look, Brentford need a striker until January time, when Ivan Toney comes back, and and Villa need this man to go out on loan to a Premier League club, see what he can do. For me, I think it'd be a win-win for both clubs. You know, they send over Villa a couple mil for Archer on loan for a season. You know, for Villa, he gets experience. We get to see what he's actually about in the Premier League. I know he's torn it up in the Championship last couple of years. So, you know, he gets minutes. He gets all of this. Villa get a benefit from it, and so do Brentford, because they have a striker that clearly knows where the net is. It's a low risk, you know, because it's only a loan, and it's going to be a cheap loan, I think, really, a few mil. Instead of going out and having to spend 15, 20, 25, 30 million pound on a striker, I think they should be looking at a couple. Not just Villa, there's quite a few teams in here that have obviously got lads that could go out on loan. I think Chelsea have got, is it Brozier, that got injured start of the season, who's very good as well. You know, so I think there's options there for Brentford instead of just buying a striker. So yeah, that would be something that I would go for. But yeah, next one is Dahoud. I think I said that right, from Dortmund. German midfielder. I mean, he's not better than Caicedo. Nobody that Brentford are going to sign is better than Caicedo. But it's another one where Brighton are going to need to splash a bit of cash now that they're in Europe. I think they're going to need to fight to keep a hold of players like Caicedo and McAllister. But just don't think they're going to have enough. I think Dahoud will be a brilliant signing. He's not a half bad number 8 midfielder. And I think, it's fairly steady player to bring in to replace Caicedo. Obviously I don't know enough about him to maybe comment, but I think it's a steady signing to bring in and just fill in that slot there where Caicedo once was, maybe even McAllister, anything like that. Next one, I'm going to go with Chelsea, and it's Declan Rice. Declan Rice all day long. Drop the mic. All day long. Get this one done, Chelsea. You're splashing money like nobody's business, so get this one done. This would be massive for you guys, I think. I was just saying earlier about Kante getting injured. Well, there's your perfect replacement there in Rice. I did actually say in January, as good of a player Enzo Fernandez is, I think that Chelsea should have spent the extra 20 mil, got in Jude Bellingham, signed Rice, and maybe that would have made Mount want to stay a bit longer. You'd have had probably, in my opinion, the best midfield three in the league, potentially the world, with them spending every single day together, at England as well. So it would have helped England. That, personally, in my opinion, was the best option for Chelsea. They're all really good mates as well, so the connection and the chemistry in that midfield three would be unbelievable, I would have thought. But they opted to get Enzo for 107 mil, which I don't think was worth it, but he's still a very good player. Next is Palace. Again, another player I don't know a great amount of, but it's Lerma. Again, another player that decent, good midfielder, fairly decent defensively. They've just got rid of 2 midfielders. I can't remember who they are. I know one was MacArthur, I think. But anyway. Not much to really say on it. I'm sure it's on a free as well. So it's another one where you can't just turn your nose up on a free, can you? And then the next one. This is quite literally like for like replacement. Danny Ings. We tried to get him in January off Villa, and we said no because they wanted the loan. Villa said no. Said sold him to West Ham for 12 and an extra 3 because they stayed up. This is again. He does get injuries, not as often as Calvert-Lewin. He's, in my opinion, one of the best natural finishers in the league, maybe even the best. I don't know what more to say. I think you could probably get him for a few mil. He's not worked out at West Ham. You guys need goals. This guy's a natural finisher. Sean Dyche being there as well. He's the type of man that will pin him, and he'll pin that striker. Realistically, who else do you have as an option? Patrick Bamford, maybe, from Leeds. I don't think he's a terrible player at all. I think he's very disrespected in the Premier League. Nobody really rates him. I think he's a good player. Again, another one that I don't like, winds me up. But I think he's good. You can pin him. Mitrovic, I don't think he's going to leave Fulham anytime soon for Everton. But again, another one where you could probably pin. So I don't know. Wesley from Villa, maybe? Another player Villa need to get off the books. Can pin him, but I don't know how good he'd be. If I was me, I'd go safe, go Ings. Bags of experience, talented, one of the best natural finishers in the league, and you can pin him. Fulham, I'm going to go with Fred. Now, I know I said don't sell anybody, but this would be a perfect replacement for Paulinho. As you see there, I've got him going to a club. I just think... I think he's decent. I think, again, it's another one similar to McTominay. People think he's terrible. I disagree. I think they're mid-table, maybe just below that level players. I just think they're not good enough for Manchester United, the biggest club in England. So, what more can you do? Wouldn't cost much. Wages, maybe, but we'd have to see. But I think that would be a good replacement if someone like Paulinho was to go. Next up is Liverpool, and it is, I think it was pretty obvious, McAllister. I think with McAllister it was always going to be, I think with Liverpool it was always going to be McAllister, weren't it? I think Great player, unreal number 10, had a good World Cup. Not sure on the fee. What is it, 70, 75? Not too sure on the fee, but, you know, he's a good player. He's had a very, very good season. Yeah, I don't think there's much more to say on it, really. So, yeah, Alexis McAllister. And then we've got Man City. I think it was obvious. Obviously, they're close to getting in Kovacic as we speak. Might even be done. But yeah, Jude Bellingham. I don't really want to see him at City. I think it's better. Well, no, not better, sorry. I just think he's... I'd just like to see him at a club like... I'd rather see him at United or Arsenal. You know. But I think City the only club that's going to go in for him and spend that money, really, in the Premier League, which is fair enough, then. You'll earn a mint, win Premier League titles like they're going out of fashion, and maybe even Champions League titles now that Haaland's there, you know, next couple of years. Be a few more. You know, so I wouldn't be surprised, but I'd rather see him at United or Arsenal, in all honesty, and I don't like those two clubs either. Then on to United, we've got Alvarez, the young holding midfielder from Ajax, and again Bellingham, who I just said I'd rather see at United. Both of them similar players. Bellingham more, you know, you can allow him to go forward while Casemiro stays back. Obviously Bellingham is the preferred option, but Alvarez, he'll be a cheaper option. He knows Ten Hag quite well. I would not be surprised at all if this happened. So the next one is Marvellous Nakamba, in my opinion, from Villa to Forest. Yeah, I think Marvellous Nakamba to Nottingham Forest. I think, again, another one Villa could do again off a bucks. Nothing against him. I thought he was really good when Gerrard first came in and got injured, unfortunately for him. Yeah, so for me, that's one player I would be looking at if I was Forest. You know, solid self at the back. I think he's a good player. I think he could excel really well with them. Done it unreal at Luton, so I wouldn't be surprised if Luton also come back in for him. But yeah, I think Forest is a good shout for him to go, and I think he'd excel really well there at Forest. The other one is Gyökeres. I think I said that right. Again, another player that's had an unreal season in the Championship, scored goals for fun. Another one that Brentford could sign. Scored bags of goals, has also assisted quite a lot. Another big player. He'll battle, he'll run, he'll cover a lot of ground, he'll work hard. I think for Forest or Brentford, or one other club in this segment, he could go to and excel really well, I think. Now we go on to Newcastle, who have just secured Champions League football for the first time in years, and we are talking James Maddison. Again, another player from a relegated club. Unbelievable, you know, free kicks a joke, dribbling a joke, passing brilliant, shooting, finishing. He's got everything. This man is unreal. But his injury record, that is the only thing that would severely put me off somebody like James Maddison. I think Leicester can't ask for much, especially if you bring out his injury record and the fact they're in the champ. They won't be asking for much, 20 to 30, I think, at the very most. But I also think Newcastle will look at it and think and worry about his injury record and think could they go and get better for the same price? Well, maybe not even better, but similar for the same price or cheaper. That's going to be there all season instead of half or 25 games. So we'll have to see on that one, but I think that could be a really, really solid signing. Sorry, guys. A really solid signing, should they be able to keep him fit. Next one is for Tottenham. People might disagree with this, but Ivan Toney, obviously, not there for 6 months. And I do think if Brentford were to sell him, then Archer they couldn't get in Archer on loan. They'd have to go out and buy a player like Gyökeres. So that would be my opinion. Give me a sec, guys. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So I do think Brentford, if they were to sell Ivan Toney, they'd have to go in and get a player like Gyökeres to replace him. But I think that would be a very, very solid replacement as well for Tottenham from Harry Kane. He'd be cheaper as well, so they'd still have profit. And I think for the 6 months he's out, you could play Son through the middle. I know Richarlison's had a terrible season, but there is still Richarlison as an option. So I think it's one of them where I think if Brentford sell Toney, they're going to get Gyökeres. If they don't, maybe loan somebody like Archer out. Who knows? The next one is, again, another like-for-like, banging like-for-like replacement, Paulinho. CDM, been unreal this season. You know, I can't say anything bad about the guy. He's been a joke this year. Really shown his class and quality. Been massive to keeping Fulham. Well, not keeping them up, but getting them mid-table. They're in a top 6 race at one point, you know. Being really good, really solid. Bit older than Rice, but it'll be cheaper. They'll still have profit on it. I think that would be a very, very solid like-for-like replacement. Again, obviously, only providing they sell Declan Rice. And then the next one is, last but not least, Gyökeres for Wolves. A side that struggled to score goals anyway in the Premier League. I know they've got Jimenez, Costa. I did read Jimenez might be wanting to leave. I don't think he's come back the same from his injury. I don't think many people would have expected him to, or been, you know, disappointed that he hasn't, because, you know, it's you don't expect it. It's a big injury. It's going to take a lot. Diego Costa, I think he's a good striker. It's a bit... It's a good striker, but he's only a temporary replacement for last season. You need somebody this season. He's not going to be the man this season to get you 15, 20 goals. Gyökeres, I think, will get you into those double figures. So I don't think it's a bad sign. I don't think it costs a major amount of money. Again, you're probably looking about 15 to 20 mil. But he'll offer you loads. He'll run the yards, like I said, for Forest or Brentford or... you know, those kind of teams. So I do think that would be a good signing. And guys, if you've enjoyed, please drop a like. Comment down below if you guys agree with my decisions. This is one player that your club should sell, one player your club should be signing. Yeah, let me know if you agreed. Anyone that you would change, disagree with. Maybe anyone that you'd actually add in there that I've not mentioned. Yeah, please drop a like. So I know if you enjoyed it. Trying to hit 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. If we do so, £100 Amazon gift card giveaway. So make sure you do so. And I'll hope to see you all again soon.